That was a lot of fun, folks. Thanks for the engagement in chat. Round of applause for all of you meme creators. So next up, our presentation, we're going to learn about how many agencies struggle because every decision flows through the founder. So you're going to learn how to build AI-powered systems, workflows, and processes that increase scalability while reducing dependency on the owner. Sounds like a great promise to me. So our next speaker is the founder of Agency Mastery. He is also the host of the Smart Agency Masterclass podcast, one of the most listened to podcasts in the agency space, and I think the oldest running podcast in the agency space. He has built and sold his own multi-million-dollar agency that worked with brands like AT&T and Hitachi. I am very proud and excited to welcome a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Jason Swank.
Thanks, Brent. Did I win the emoji contest?
You got one or two of them, so nice job.
There you go.
You're like a professional agency content generator, so you know.
Yeah, that was a little unfair. So don't let me win.
Well, you've got the stage, my man.
All right, perfect. Let me share up my screen, and we will rock and roll. Here we go. This one. Boom. Can you see the right? Hold on one second. Let me hit play.
There we are. Good to go.
All right, perfect. All right, well, cool. Well, thanks everybody for having me. I want to talk about the agency operating system and really how to remove the biggest bottleneck, which is you, right? And at the end of the day, when we're growing an agency, we want to increase margins and we want to build a business that runs without you. And, you know, probably like a lot of these talks and just Brent's talk just a little while ago, AI is no longer a competitive advantage, right? It's a requirement. And, you know, when I started my agency in 1999. You know, I was designing $500 websites here and there, and I was pretty much right out of school. I worked for Arthur Andersen for like 6 months. Every job I've ever hired or been, you know, an employee, I was fired. So I only had really kind of one choice. And when I started my agency by accident, I was real excited about it. And this is right when the internet was getting really popular. And I started thinking about a couple months ago, or maybe even about a year ago, especially when AI really hit a lot of strides and it changes every day, almost every hour. And I was like, man, I would listen to the social media experts out there and, hey, I replaced my agency with this one prompt. And I was like, and I would listen to a lot of this propaganda stuff around AI and agency. And I'm like, yeah, agency's toast. And then I started thinking and I started chatting with other agency owners and they felt the same way. And I'm like, man, this industry is changing fast. And then I started thinking, I go, well, how did I feel when the internet came out? And I was real excited. And I tried to figure out like, why was I excited? And at the end of the day, I was excited because I had nothing to lose. So a lot of you that have been in the agency world and been building something, now you have something to lose. And so I started thinking about like, well, what I need to do is really kind of jump off the cliff, right? This is me in Moab. There's this company that you can get on a rope swing and you just jump off this cliff and you fall for like 5 seconds. And then the rope kind of swings you out very slowly and then they pull you back up. And what I didn't tell you is it took me probably 10 minutes to jump off this damn cliff. And it was the same thing when I was starting to experiment with AI. I needed to kind of dig into it. I needed to kind of smell what was cooking with this AI and start really kind of what Brent was talking about a little while ago, like start experimenting with it. And as I started doing that, I was like, wow, look at the capabilities I can enhance myself, but also my team. Now, obviously, I can't see you. I usually do this talk in person, but you can put it in the chat. Maybe Brent could, you know, tell me like who's raising their hand, or we can just kind of do it normal. So if you could put like maybe yeah, this is me in the comments. If you personally close most of your agency deals, put a comment in there. Or your team can't deliver the work without your approval. Or maybe if you took 2 weeks, everything in your agency would fall apart. Okay, put a comment in there. And just remember, you are group number one, okay? Because what I want to do today is identify where you're at and what do you need to do moving forward, okay? Using AI and really knowing where you're at. Now, group number 2 is, and put a comment in there if you can, if you have a team, but everything escalates to you to make the final decision, or everything from pricing, proposals, deliverable, you still approve. Maybe you manage tasks instead of telling people outcomes, or when you come back from vacation, how big of that pile of to-dos and fires to put out? And you're the bottleneck, and you obviously know it. If that's you, you are group number 2. Now, the next one is if you build the systems and you're the one maintaining these systems. So like, let's, for example, if you're building, you're about to hire a salesperson and you build a sales system, or you built a system to help your account managers get more streamlined, right? Or maybe your team makes some decisions, but all the big ones still come to you, or you're close to the work, but you're still doing a lot of it and you're really watching it. You're in the next group. You're in group 3. Now, group 4, revenue runs without you any involvement in sales or delivery. And you might have some leadership team that manages their own team, but you still spend more than 30% of your calendar on operations to try to really kind of fix everything. If that's true, you're group number 4. And then the last group, this is where we're all trying to go, okay? Your business generates profit without you on a regular involvement, right? You could sell tomorrow and the business would keep running, but you choose to be here, but you don't have to be. This is where we're really going, right? Now, obviously we can't look around the room and I can't even see the comments, but probably most of you were in group 1, 2, or 3. And we can kind of move from those groups, up and down. But a lot of times we want to get to a place where we're the CEO or we're the owner, because if you're in group 1, you're the operator. You are the business. Every decision runs through you. And then what happens a lot of times is, like when I started my agency by accident. One of my friends looked like Justin Timberlake. So I created a fake band, fake website called In Shit, making fun of NSYNC. And then that website got popular and people started asking me to design websites. So I was an accidental agency owner. So when I started getting overwhelmed with all the work, because I would focus on sales and then I would actually design the websites. So then when I would design the websites, and then sales would go down and vice versa, right? So what I started doing is that I started hiring people, which made me a manager. So I had to manage these people. I had to manage these tasks. But the problem was, when I was an operator, I was working 60 hours a week. When I was a manager, I was working 80 hours a week, because I was doing my work, I was managing people, and I was doing their work because I was a crappy manager. What I realized was I needed to hire people that could manage themselves, because I was a horrible manager, right? Like I was just delegating, tasks rather than outcomes. So then what I started needing to do is, like group number 3 that I told you, I needed to start building systems. So like, for example, a lot of you, when you're about to build a sales team, right, you're going to bring on a salesperson and be like, just go sell something, bring in money, bring in revenue. But building a sales team and building a sales system are very different. So when I would build a sales system, I would say, all right, we're going to have 3 different phases. We're going to have where someone sells something very easy to the prospect, a foot in the door, and I'm going to have them shadow me on this foot in the door discovery that I would charge for. And then when I feel that they've done enough, I'm going to shadow them. And then I'm going to move them on to the next stage. Like, that's building a system. That's an architect. Then the next level up is you're the CEO, where you basically have 5 roles. You're setting the vision and communicating that to the team often. You're coaching and mentoring your leadership team. You're understand the financials, just the high levels like the KPIs, and you're the face of the organization, right? Then the next layer up is owner. The business runs independently regardless of what you're doing, right? You're basically just being accessible to your leadership team. Now, if you're an operator or a manager, you don't have to reach owner. Not everybody does. When I sold my first agency, I didn't reach owner. I only reached CEO. And these are just identities, because a lot of times when I was the CEO, I only had to work 20 hours a week doing those 5 things I just told you. So a lot of times what would happen is I would sabotage myself and the team so I could go back to an architect and building systems rather than having other people building systems, because I felt like I had to outwork everybody. But I put the right infrastructure, I built the right systems, and then the leadership team was building the systems under them to grow the company. Now, if you want to know more about that, I do have a new book that came out. Just go to operator-to-owner-evolution.com. Go check that out. It walks you through that. Now, let's talk about how to remove yourself as the bottleneck, okay? Now, your agency already has an operating system. Do you know who it is? It's you. Now, today I'm going to talk about the AI operating system, and then I'm going to talk about how to remove some of these bottlenecks with using this AI operating system. Now, there are 3 different layers in this. The first one is the context layer. This is your agency brain downloaded in AI, who you are, who you serve, how you sound, what great looks like. The next layer is the workflow layer. This is the repeatable tasks that AI can handle, so you and your team don't have to. This is the stuff eating margins. This is the stuff that can increase your margins. And then layer number 3 is really the decision layer, right? The rules and frameworks that let your team and AI to make decisions without routing everything back to you, so you get more time back. Now, we've all used AI, just kind of like Brett was telling you a little while ago, and we've all been to the AI slop buffet, right? We've used it, given us complete junk back. But the good thing about this is AI is as dumb today as it will ever be. It keeps improving itself. And what we need to do, especially in the first layer, the context layer, is we need to train AI, right? It's not by just prompting it, but it's about really kind of creating this framework called AIM framework. It's like, who does AI need to act like? What's the input I'm going to give it? And what's the mission? Going back to what I was telling you about managing people, right? AI is the same way. Don't give AI a task, give it an outcome. Have it start at the end and work back. Now, if you use this framework, you're going to be a lot more successful. And most people are using this. And on the foundational layer, right? Like if you tell it, here's your primary role, here's my company overview, who's the perfect client I'm going after, here's who I'm not going after, my voice, my tone, my guardrails, examples of output, you're going to get great, you're going to get okay stuff. And this is what most people are doing. But if you want to take it up a notch, let's talk about the intelligence layer. Let's start putting in your frameworks, your methodologies, your guidelines, maybe put in your success stories and proof. What if you connected your CRM and all that data to it? What if you, like, whenever I've been in business doing agency mastery for 12 years or 13 years, I don't know. It's over a decade. And so whenever anybody engages with us and buys from us, we've always asked them their biggest challenge, or why did you buy? So we have thousands of data input of people's biggest challenges in their own words. So put that in there, or your SWOT analysis, your competitive landscape, right? But if you want to even take it up a notch, even more, you look at the structural layer, which is like, here's a marketing folder that I created with all the content, copy, design, positioning, lead generation that we've done. Maybe this is the structure that we do around sales or outreach or call prep or proposals or pipeline delivery. I think you're getting the point, right? What we want to do is we want to take all these frameworks, the SWOT analysis, CRM, case stories, methodologies, everything, and create a brain from this. Now, a lot of you, like when I started with ChatGPT, that was really kind of the first model that I started messing with. I started uploading a lot of the data to the custom GPTs. Like no one's talking about the custom GPTs anymore, right? They're talking about Claude right now. That's the hot topic. And as I was uploading all this data, the frameworks, everything that I just showed you, I was putting in the models, and then I was like, man, I can't download it to go try it with Gemini. I can't try it with Claude. So what I started doing was creating a folder with all the stuff, all the context in there. Okay. And then I started thinking about, how do I build an AI briefing doc that goes really kind of like that framework that I told you with AIM, act, input, and mission. And then how do I put in my positioning statement? How do I put in, all the other stuff, why they bought, the biggest challenges, the playbook, the frameworks, the summaries from all our mastermind meetings, all of my podcast stuff. How do I put all of this into one? So then that's when I really kind of came up with an AI operating system, or a file structure, if you want to think about it that way, rather than prompting the models each time. And it doesn't matter which model I use. So I literally just started building this operating system on my local computer. And so obviously everyone's using Claude right now, but it could change, and I'll talk about examples like that. So I basically created a Claude MD file, which is a markdown file that all of you guys know. And I basically said, here is all the information I'm going to give you from, like, you can kind of see this file structure. Here's all the context. Here's the knowledge. Here's the playbooks, which are the frameworks I talked about. I created a routing folder. So whenever I ask it a business question, it's going to automatically go to this file or this folder in order to determine where it needs to go and how to reach it. I even created a folder in there for teaching the model, because how often does AI lie to you and you're like, hey, you made a mistake. Oh yeah, you're right. Well, I want to document that. I want to, teach it skills. I want it to grow. I want this to be a living, breathing thing that AI can keep getting better. So I started adding all these documents to the context folder, from the brand brief, the style guide, the data sources, retention process or sales process, all these different things in order to the context folder. Then I started thinking about the routing. Is this a marketing thing? Is this an operations? Is this a partnership? Is this retention? Is this sales? Like, as you're looking at this, file structure, like, where does it need to go in order to save memory, save this tokens? Everybody's talking about like optimizing tokens. Then I started thinking about, let's put in all the knowledge that we had from the frameworks, the members, the objections that people may have, how to prospect, all these different things. Start putting in a knowledge folder. Then I started creating a playbook folder in there that we could actually use, from the campaign launch, crisis response, all these different things. I started creating playbooks in there. I even started, like I told you about the learning, like, what do we need to focus on? What do we actually need to look at in order to constantly keep getting better and better? The cool part about this is, when Claude a couple months ago started giving me really bad results, I literally switched to Gemini, and I pointed Gemini to this file structure, and immediately I was off to the races. Same thing when Codex came out, which is ChatGPT's model, right? Or app, that I pointed it to the folder. Immediately, it knew everything, right? That's the power of this. I don't want you to just be dependent on one model. I want you to build your own file structure. And I want you to stop asking AI and tell it what is the outcome, right? So, like, for example, most people just chat with AI, write a cold outreach email, and it gives you a tip and framework and all that kind of stuff. But what if you said, I need help with filling my pipeline, and let AI do it, right? So the next layer I want to talk to you about is the workflow layer, right? The context layer taught AI who you are. The workflow layer teaches it what to do. And this is where we build the AI workflows that enhance and support them, okay? So, like, for example, I'm going to build an AI agent to support my team, right? What workflows does, our account team always do, or our marketing team, or our sales part, right? So if we focus on the sales support, what's our current workflow right now for cold outreach? Or how do we write our proposal's first draft, right? Document that, put that into AI with all the context now we have, and just watch it create this amazing stuff. Oops, hold on a second. Let me go back real quick. All right, cool. So this is an exercise. I want you to draw kind of like 4 boxes on your screen. I'll go through it quick so you can kind of do it later. It's been saying layer too much, but most people don't know where to start with AI. I like to start with AI with this kind of looking at everything on the business for what is a low involvement of your time, and which is a low involvement or with the company, and which is the high repeat, happens all the time. So if we think about and we focus on the bottom left, this is a custom weird shit that as agency owners that we create. Now, we don't need to have AI do anything, and we don't need to outsource this, right? No one thinks like we do. But then if we look at the bottom right, something that doesn't happen too much, but requires a lot of our time, well, we can use AI to optimize this. Okay. So that could be like delivery workflows. It could be, increasing output, for our team members, QA process, that kind of stuff. Then if we focus on low involvement, but happens regularly, right? This is where AI can be that, assist, but it won't replace. It's kind of like the advisory work, right? If you think about let me give it all the context we have and help me come up with a new pricing strategy, or, deciding on what's the next model we need to pivot on, or negotiating this partnership, right? Use it as advisory work. But really the most powerful part, and where we need to start, is really figuring out what is the biggest bottleneck. What is something you as the owner do all the time that requires a lot of your time? This could be personalizing every sales follow-up, attending every client meeting, all that kind of stuff. This is where the bottleneck is. This is where you actually need to start. So I've created this 30-day extraction map, okay? So if we think about it, in the first week, I really want you to start looking at your calendar, looking at what you've done every single day for the week, and list out everything that you personally touch. What do you touch weekly? What slows on approval? Once you figure out that one thing, what I want you to do the second week is record yourself doing this task in Loom or whatever kind of QuickTime, whatever recording software, and then feed it in AI, and then let that document an SOP. All right. So then in week 3, we're going to set up an AI agent for that team to use. You're going to collaborate with the team and the agent. Now you're still present, but you're less involved. And then week 4, you're going to turn it over to your team, and you're going to remove yourself from the loop. If you do this once a month for the entire year, you've removed 60 to 80% of the tasks you're doing right now. Just imagine that. Right now, you are doing 60 to 80%. If you remember that, when I told you about, I'm an operator and I'm working 60 hours a week. Then I'm a manager, I'm working 80 hours a week. At an architect, I'm working 40. At the CEO, I'm working 20. At the owner level, I'm working none, or maybe 1 or 2, right? And so you're going to start extracting yourself out. Now, if you look at kind of what I've called the agency profit multiplier, right? This is let's say your revenue per month is 200,000. Your delivery cost is 140,000. So that makes your profit 60,000 a month. Now, what do most agencies do when they want more profit, right? They sell more. The traditional agency will sell 240,000 a month. Their delivery cost doesn't maintain the same. It goes up. Your profit went up by 5,000 a month, but you have more stress, you have more team, you have more management, and your profit barely went up. It went up 5,000. Now, an AI leveraged agency, the revenue stays the same. Delivery costs went down by 20,000, which means your profit went up. No new clients, no new hire, no new chaos. That's the power that as you're building this operating system and you're giving it to your team. What most people do is the owners mess with AI, they enhance themselves, but they don't show their team how to do it. For example, a couple of weeks ago, we, with the podcast, the Smart Agency Masterclass, we have a lot of SOPs in there. And I wanted to help my team out. So we got on a call and I started building out an AI agent to do all the stuff that they do, to streamline, make them better. And they're like, this is amazing. You know what I did at the very end once I built that agent out? I deleted it because I wanted them to build it. The premise is this. I can fish and give my team fish, and they'll eat well. Or I can teach them how to fish, and we're going to thrive. And that's what you need to do with this operating system with AI. Show your team the power of this. Let them start messing with it and experimenting with it, and you'll see it go way, way up. Because when you look at kind of like if you start auditing your profit, you're going to look at 3 different areas. You're going to look at your billable work, right? Which is probably 50 to 60%. Your not billable work, this is like internal reporting, status updates, meeting notes, revisions, all that kind of stuff. Support work's probably 25 to 35% of your revenue. Then you have the profit leaks, or the profit killers, I call them. They're 10 to 20%. Now, if we start optimizing with AI and giving the power and your teams really leveraging it, billable work can go up to 70 to 75%. The non-billable work compresses to 20%, and your profit leaks go down to 5%. So think about that, what that would do to your agency. Now, the same thing that you're going to do for yourself, for your role, I want your team to start looking at the 30-day support work extraction map. So the first week, they're going to start auditing their support tasks. This could be the QA, meeting recaps, doing reports, all that kind of stuff. Audit. Have them pick one. Second week, document the pattern. Third week, we're going to compress that workflow. So we're going to look at the old workflow. What could the new workflow be? And then the fourth week, we're going to shift to, toward that to the billable. Same headcount, higher output per employee, which is really cool. To give you an example of this, like when we would do our weekly content, we would do a little bit of research. Honestly, I'd probably not do any research. Most of the time, I just do it by feel. I would plan it, I would edit, I'd post, right? Spend about 6 to 10 hours between me brainstorming, creating the content, having my team edit it, write the social post, all that kind of stuff. Now, same part, I basically create an AI agent that does the research. It looks at the market industries, the current stories, all this kind of stuff. And then it comes back to me and say, here's a couple topics. How do you feel about it? And I'll be like, hey, I like this one, this one topic on profit leaks. And then it would go, okay, cool. And then I programmed it where I said, help me come up with the hook and the title first. And then what are some of the key points I need to talk on? And then I would go shoot the video. Then once I shoot the video, I would give it to AI. And you can kind of see on the right-hand side under the editing, like I was doing a lot of short videos back then. It would go, oh, this video should be horizontal or a vertical, and it's shot in horizontal. Let me switch it. And then it would zoom in to me. And then I had it where it would zoom in on the key points. It would do the captions. It would trim out everything. The whole process from start to finish on what I need to research for the most relevant items to shooting the video to having it do all the editing basically took an hour rather than, what the 6 to 10 hours before. Now, the last layer that I want to talk to you guys about is layer 3, which is the decision layer, right? Like, how do I download my brain, my workflow, and all that kind of stuff and give that to other people? And at the end of the day, when I start looking back at before, there's probably 10 to 20% of stuff that really needs you, like entering a new market, major investments, hiring leadership. So think about all that other time. And then there's probably like in the middle, someone else should actually decide like 40 to 50% of that, but they don't need your permission yet, like the proposals, the pricing, customer complaints, that kind of stuff. And then there's 30 to 40% that the system should decide, like no person needed. So that's 80% of the decisions hitting your desk should not be there. Think about that, what that would do for your company. One of the models that I developed a long time ago that saved me so much time that I want to give to you guys is the 1-3-1 method, right? This is like what happens a lot of times when your employees come to you with a problem. Well, you solve it, right? Because you've been through it and all that kind of stuff. And it's probably only takes about 10 minutes to solve versus if you had to really break it down, it might take you a little bit longer. So when my team started coming to me for a problem with a problem, I would ask them, hey, what are 3 possible solutions that you're thinking about? And which is the one that you would recommend? Over time, it's going to stop them from coming to you because they're going to be like, Jason's just doing the 131 Jedi mind trick. He's going to ask me, what are 3 things I'm thinking about? Which one do I recommend? I don't need to go to him, right? So you need to start doing that. And so what you can kind of start doing to installing this decision layer is a 4-week rollout, right? So week 1, you build out a test for the context layer on your own. Week 2, you're going to share this with just your number 2. You're not going to share it with your whole company because you don't want to screw them all up because you're testing everything out. Have them test it on one workflow. Week 3, you're going to pick one workflow and make AI the default first step. You're going to implement the 131 for all those decisions in that. And then week 4, you're going to measure that. You're going to see how many hours saved and decisions that no longer need to go through your desk, right? And so you're going to adjust. And then after this, then you can start rolling it out to everybody. So really kind of your 90-day AI operating system roadmap is this. The first week, we're going to install the context layer, right? We're going to paste in the AI tools. We're going to test it on 3 of the tasks, all that kind of stuff. The next, the 8 to 30 days, we're going to build out that workflow layer. Where's that bottleneck for you, right? That we need to really kind of use an AI agent to replace. Then we're going to roll out the activate, the decision layer. And then after that, we're going to optimize and measure. That's what we need to do. So the full operating system is layer 1 is the context layer. Number 2 is the workflow layer and the decision layer, right? Now, if you want my operating system, I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the tools though, so you can create your own operating system because your business is different. If you use this QR code, I'm going to send you a template for the AI briefing document that you're going to load up into any of the models that you want, and then the prompt that you will use to build out that file structure that you can constantly enhance and build out. So go do that, and let's go through some questions. Did I go through that fast enough for you guys? Let me get rid of this QR code. Right here. Anybody there? Or did I lose connection?
We're still here.
Okay. All right, good. You scared me. I was like, was I talking to no one?
Love it, Jason. Sorry. We were discussing something backstage. So
no problem.
Great to love the presentation. Let's get some questions. Pooja just said, and there goes day 1. So let's give a round of applause for Jason. Strong finish to our first day of the Agency Advantage Summit. Great presentation from Megan Pace. Asama says, great session. Reese says, love it. So we're going to now jump over to our Q&A panel. Looks like we've got some questions in here from Matt Robinson. How do you revisit and renew your AI OS as you scale?
So it's constantly building. Remember, when you start implementing this, you're going to have a feedback layer. So it will remember, like anytime you say it's wrong or any of that, it will learn from it. Or anytime you have a new framework, you just say, hey, I have this new framework that I've been working on here, and they will know which folder to put that in. And it will start building this. And then what I started doing is I started giving the same thing that I did. So I didn't roll this out to my team right away. I basically tested out for myself for about a month. And then I basically created this file structure and the instructions, gave it to my team. And now the team is way more efficient. And they're not coming to me for as much as they were in the past. So I have more time back. I have time to go jump off cliffs or trying to get Brent to do it, and he won't do it. But we'll see if we can get him to do it.
We'll see.
That should be the contest. Be like, how many people want Brent to jump off a cliff with me? Tied to a rope, not just die. But
all right. Next question. What is the employee satisfaction with AI? Any thoughts on that one?
Well, look, there's going to be some people on your team that are going to resist. Like there's always the early adopters, and then there's the laggards and the people in the middle. what I started, and my team was actually the laggers on this until I started going, here, let me show you this. And look, I am the fastest implementer. So like my team even made me get a turtle tattoo just to slow me up, right? Because I'm just like, go, 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 go. But as you can start giving them some examples, be like, hey, Darby, if you're talking to all these people, imagine if you could take all the transcription from your Zoom calls, put it into AI, and then let's say they ghosted, you're the person you were talking to ghosted you. It could probably help you, assist you, figure out an angle to reach back out to them based on the biggest challenge. He was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I was like, well, we can create an agent to do that. Or like the podcast example that I showed you, like my team has like 100 different steps when we record an episode. Be like, hey, what if we could get down that 5 to save you more time so you can concentrate on the more important things? And they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Right? Like, so, and then there's going to be some people that you just outgrow. That's why I showed you those 5 identity shifts, right? In the book, operator owners, is everyone in your team has to go through that. And you have to make them better. Like my job was always making better leaders. And for the ones that didn't want to evolve, unfortunately, they got passed by. And we have to bring in new people to do. So you have to, like you said, adapt or die.
Is there any incentive structure that you've seen works that helps your team implement AI?
Keep their job. I mean, like,
like owner joke, right? Like,
I'm not joking either, right? So, whenever I hire people, they have to share similar values I do, right? So I'm not just hiring someone that they can do the job. I'm hiring them to see if they are resourceful, if they like learning every day, if they are not afraid to share their failures with the team so the team can be better, right? So like if I'm hiring based on those values, no one's going to be left behind. But if I sacrifice those values and I just hired I had a guy I interviewed with years ago. It was before like 3D design was kind of coming out on the internet, and he created this amazing world, like one of the best designers I've ever seen. He came in the office, it was a complete a-hole. Like, and I was like, man, my VP of design was like, we got to hire him. I was like, no way. He is a cancer, a train wreck, right? So you can't sacrifice that. So that's how I always kind of got rid of people if they wanted to adapt.
Okay. I'm just trying to get through a couple of our attendees. Like they're like Q&A panel stuffing with AI right now. And it's like there's like 400 questions from 2 people. I'm like, all right, human beings that have questions are getting buried in this stuff. So how do you phase the rollout of your AI operating system? Is it something that you do in stages? Is it something that you just kind of pull the Band-Aid and go all in and like eliminate the old systems, the old way of doing it?
Well, that's what I was saying in that 90-day rollout, right? The first week, you're testing it out with your number 2. And then you're going back and forth, be like, what worked? What didn't work? What do we need to adjust? Then we're going to version number 2, maybe version number 3. And really giving the reins to them in order to make it better, right? And I'm telling the number 2, but like, here's the outcome we want. We want to get more profitable, more efficient, so we don't have to, hire. So like my agency had over 100 people. That's a lot of layers, man, just to manage 100 people. I could do the same thing with probably 15 people now. And so test it out with your number 2, revise, make it better, optimize, and then start rolling out slowly. You don't want to just go to everybody like, here's the new operating system. And then like people are like, oh, like just do it slowly over time and you'll get there. Like I would roll it out over a quarter. There's no rush.
It seems like it's like using, somebody's giving me the electricity analogy, right? Like it's like using electricity in your business. You don't like use it for a quarter, like, you don't like put some tools in play for, 3 months and then stop, adding new tools to your business. So this question comes from Reese Hall. I have a similar setup, but have not rolled it out outside of my development environment to the broader agency. My background is IT, but now I'm learning more and more about other parts of the agency. How do we start the conversation with leadership that may be resistant? So this might be actually from a team member's perspective that's maybe not getting as much buy-in from the leadership in the organization to roll out these systems, which I've seen definitely happen.
Think about why they're not buying in. Is they're scared about AI replacing what they're currently doing, right? And they're also have the unknown. They don't think that rope is going to catch them and swing them out. And so what I always tell them is, look, what you're currently doing is going to be extinct. So you need to evolve. Here is something that we can do to evolve and make you more efficient. And as soon as my team started understanding that and explaining that, I'd be like, look, you're not going to, like, I can design, like, I'm doing it for the mastermind tomorrow that you're on, Brent, right? Like, designing websites used to take us like a 20-page public facing website. I think it used to take us around 80 hours. I could do this, and we would charge 60 to 100,000 for it. Takes me maybe an hour in AI to do it now. Now I have the framework and the knowledge, and I've programmed AI in order to do that. And it's kind of like I'm going back with the creative, right? So some of those roles are going to change. Now, if I could show my designers how to use this amazing technology and how they can get the output with their input, where they're building it and assisted with AI, and just show them that they're gonna be like, okay, as soon as they know they're not going to replace and you're trying to make them better. That's what really was the unlock for my team to really buy into this. And that was unlocked for too, right? Like, I was like, Brent, man, we're out of a job. There's not going to be any agencies because AI is going to do it. And then I started experimenting with it. I was like, crap, like 2 months ago, I fired my bookkeeper because I started having Claude Cowork do my bookkeeping. I know nothing about bookkeeping. I hate bookkeeping. AI effed up my books, right? You have to have a knowledge in something, and there has to be a director.
So you fired your bookkeeper, you outsourced bookkeeping to AI. The AI screwed up your books.
Yeah. It did great the first month, and then the second month totally, like, I was like, I was not.
And then you didn't have enough domain knowledge to maybe understand like what all it did and how it did. So, okay, did you ultimately have to rehire the bookkeeper?
I hired a different bookkeeper. I didn't want to go back with the tail between my legs.
Oh, geez.
But agencies are seeing that too, right? Like in the mastermind, we were talking about that earlier. Like, it's like clients are designing their own logos. They're like, and it's really bad because they don't know the context and what needs to go into it. And they're like, here's a crappy logo to go put on this site that you're designing for me. Like, you have to, like, that's the beauty about AI right now. It may change. You have to have an understanding to direct it. Like, because I could say, go give me a logo. Yeah, it's going to give me a logo, but it's not going to follow a lot of the rules that we may have followed in the past. So that's there's always going to be a need for agencies. That's what I started realizing. And there's always going to be, a need for a team. You don't want to be the only person on top of the mountain. That's boring, right? Like when people say, build a one-person agency, you could do it, but it's going to be, you're on an island by yourself. Why do you want to do that? I don't understand that.
We probably have time for one, maybe two other questions. I know you've got to leave just before the top of the hour, Jason. This is from Jill. What AI platform do you prefer to create websites?
Claude Cowork. By far right now, make sure you install the UI UX skill. That's key to designing it. And then don't be happy with the first version. And then use sites like 21st.dev in order to enhance certain things. Like if you go to the jasonswank.com website, that was all built in AI, all of it. You know, it was, and it blew me away. Now, that wasn't the first version. You have to treat it like you're a creative director and just add and focus on each component. But what I started doing, just to give you guys a hint for that on the design, tell it to design the whole website. Don't just say design this one concept, like do the whole website and then just start editing each of the components on that and then roll it out to the other pages. That's the most efficient way to do it.
Question from, this will be the last question, from Will Woods II. What is the difference between enabling the team with local context and having a shared system with shared context?
So I haven't messed with the shared one yet, and I'll tell you why, right? Each person in my company has different roles. So like marketing, sales, operations. So I wanted to get that operating system to a point where, and that's why you test it out for a couple of weeks with your number 2. I wanted to get to a point where it's going to learn from me, but I can roll it out to my team, and then it's going to learn on each of their roles. So I didn't want like Darby to go in, you know, under sales, and then it start messing up Stacy's under operations because it's learning and it would get confused. So I liked installing it on local based on their role, and it would constantly get better. And then if there was some like big thing, I could, you know, work with, you know, whatever model and say, hey, help me modify this one file structure, or give me a folder that I tell everybody, put it in this folder, and then it's good, right? And so that's what we've been doing rather than a shared folder. Is that the best model? It is for me right now, but it could be tomorrow. It could be totally different.
Jason, I don't know if you can put that slide up where folks can contact you again, or if you want to put in chat real quick before you head out, your contact details, how folks can find out more about you. I'll actually be going to Jason's, I'll be at Forge. I will also be at the Digital Agency Experience. So if you all want to jump into Jason's whole ecosystem and community, I can tell you I've been to a lot of agency events over the last decade, and Jason's events are absolutely my second favorite. My first is our own event, so I can't put you ahead of that one, Jason.
No problem. I totally understand.
My E2M contract prohibits me from doing that, but but Jason's events are absolutely amazing. So if you're looking for that connection community with other agency owners, definitely take a look at it at jasonswank.com. Check out Agency Mastery and click on the QR code. Get all of his agency operating system builder. He gave his presentation at Vistara. It was very well received. People loved the tools, loved the system. And also, if you haven't plugged your book, I think it was part of your talk, but grab the book, Operator to Owner. It's literally on my desk. It is like my daily reading material here at E2M. So Jason, thank you. I know you got to take off, man. Thank you for being here at Cloudways Agency Advantage.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
All right. That wraps up our final session from today. We've got, what do y'all think? We did a good job today. I mean, that was several hours of, jam-packed content to help you grow your agency, your business, and take advantage of this amazing AI wave. And here's one message that I want to close on. AI is this really crazy opportunity. Like it happened when the web first came out. It happened when apps came out, when social media came out, when responsive came out, right? There's this like window of time where these big shifts in technology create an opportunity where your clients are very much willing to listen. If you haven't sent out an email to your entire client list or prospect list and asked your clients, What are you doing with regards to AI? How can we help your business grow with AI? Clients are extremely receptive to the AI conversation. So definitely like jump in, like use AI as a door opener. I promise you, even if you feel like you don't know a ton about AI, you probably know 10% more than your clients do, which is all that it takes, right? So make sure you leverage this time. There's a very short window here. Maybe it's the next 6 months, maybe it's the next year, where you can really use AI as a differentiator, to at least, I shouldn't say differentiator, as a conversation starter with your clients and prospects. So we got to hear from some amazing people today. We got to hear from Kushbu and Ronik and Shahir. We got to hear amazing panel from Aurelio, Masab, and Matthew. I was able to share some knowledge about what I think about AI. Jason Swank, amazing keynote presenter. Tomorrow, we've got some awesome folks coming back. We got Marcel Petipas, Chris Dubois, Vito Peleg, Dale Castro, Suhaib, Ali Ahmed, Brittany Muller, John Miles, Federico Pascal, Josh Strozowski, Julio Daddy. I mean, we have a jam-packed day. That's all I'm trying to say. Tomorrow we have a jam-packed day. We're gonna see you all here for day 2 of Agency Advantage. We've got some fun activities. We're gonna be giving away our prizes tomorrow. So make sure you tune in to tomorrow's Agency Advantage session. Keep that engagement and activity going. Although I'm going to put an asterisk next to it. Tomorrow, if you guys are putting in spam comments from AI or spam Q&A, we're going to have to disqualify you from our leaderboard, because as a host, that was making it a little challenging. And as we saw from chat, it became a less cool experience as a participant. So just want to put that asterisk out there. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. I love that you all are hanging out with us. I love that you're engaging. We want you to engage. We want you to be here. But let's be smart about how we're engaging in those questions panels, so that the humans that are here to learn can actually ask questions and get them answered. So I would appreciate your help on that. So we'll see you all here back tomorrow. That is all for today. I'm Brent Weaver. Until then.